Welcome back to the Piping Pasture. Well, the corn cob is out, so that means it's time for some more wit and wisdom. Well, today, finally get to enjoy some cold brew. The cold brew pitcher did survive the trip. However, it did not survive the new dishwasher here in the new place. Um, the prior occupants or the landlord, one or the other, had the water heater set to like infinite, which in point of fact, I am grateful for, because the reason you set your water heater all the way to the highest temp is to kill any kind of bacteria, right? And as they were moving out, we were moving in, different people, and so on and so forth, and the house sat empty, getting some renovation done for about a month. So whether they did it on the way out, whether they just liked scalding water out of the sink, or whether the landlord did it in order to kill any possible leftover bacteria from the house sitting for a month, whatever reason, the water heater was set all the way at the highest level. And so our dishwasher here was washing that plus with the booster heater. And our previous cold brew pitcher was plastic. So it was really thick, heavy plastic, durable plastic. So it's a cold brew coffee pitcher. It's meant to last, right? So it had survived on the bottom rack previously at our previous place very well. Did not make it here. So we had to order a new one. This time we got glass. So I'm finally able to get some cold brew, which in El Paso in the summertime is kind of a needful thing if you like afternoon coffee. That one was for our brother over there at the Tiki Toad Lounge. Uh, I was kind of poking fun at him the other day for the size of his flame on his Zippo. He's like, "Oh no, I know, I just filled it." So I literally just filled mine and didn't even think about it until the blowtorch kicked in. Anyway, for those of you who have recently signed on to my channel, and there have been a few of you, so thank you first of all to all the new subscribers. It's always encouraging to me. There are some people out there who like to hear me ramble, so I appreciate you joining in. But the corn cob pipe, I only have the one. It's a Missouri Mission, and this came from our brother over at Hoot and Briar, Rob. So both that and this little book of Mark Twain Proverbs. So I always say that the series Wit and Wisdom is sponsored by Hoot and Briar, because he did this book as a series for a good long while, and then I got it from him, and he asked if I could keep the tradition going. So I have endeavored to do so, putting Mark Twain in conversation with other writers sometimes, and just sharing some bits and bobs out of this book, because Twain is a pretty good writer. And Brother Rob has been going through it recently after the loss of his house and recent health issues. And just to let you know, brother, I have been praying for you and your family. And oh goodness, it seems like everyone's having really serious health issues. Uncle Willie and Rob, and then even our northern brethren smoking codwood. So with all the health stuff going on, definitely doing some heavy praying on that for everybody. And the meerschaum today. Normally I smoke my aromatic blend. I have one aromatic blend. And it's a 50-50 mixture of Cherry Bonbon from Milan and Eileen Straight. Because I'm not an aromatic smoker. It's not really my thing. But every once in a while, it's nice. And normally I reserve it for the corn cob, because it just seems like classic Americana to have a corn cob pipe and an aromatic tobacco. But today I was going for some Joe's Blend. I saw Onion's recent video on Northwoods, and he was mentioning Joe's Blend, and I just coincidentally, before we moved here to El Paso, while we're still there on the East Coast, I got a pound of each of those blends because I like them both very, very much as well. And of course, she needs to order them here and have them shipped. But when I was there, I was like, well, I can go to Boswell's in person, pick up a pound, and it's a lot cheaper to ship from Virginia to Maryland than it is from Virginia to Texas. So anyway, he was talking about Joe's Blend, put me in mind of it, and I was like, that does sound good. So smoking a little Joe's Blend in the corn cob. Well, as we've been getting settled here in Texas, the my two younger daughters are going to be attending high school here. The oldest is off to college here pretty soon, but we my two younger ones are going to be attending what's called an early college high school here. It's basically it's a high school where all the coursework is either honors or dual enrollment courses. So at the end of your 4 years of high school, you also have an associate's degree, which is great because it's all paid for. It's public education. This isn't like a private school. So it's a wonderful program that Texas has. Um, the the high school that my daughters went to in Maryland and in Indiana, other places we've lived in, and so forth. They've done dual enrollment, or they've done AP classes where it counts towards college credit. And if you really put your nose to the grindstone, you can get out an associate's degree in those schools as well. If you're doing all these classes and doing all this stuff, and it takes a lot of extra effort. But in this high school, it's all that way. So, I mean, yeah, the coursework is more challenging, but you don't have to like try to tack on your AP courses the last couple of years of high school. You're building on them all 4 years, which again, I said is fabulous. So, but in Texas, before you can attend college, what you're meant to do is take what's called the TSI exam. So, to make sure that you're college ready before you go to attend college. So, both of my younger girls had to take this exam to make sure they were ready for college, and both passed both sections. And the one hadn't even, she's going to be a freshman, so she's not even in high school yet. She's already college ready, so pretty proud of that. Take after their mother, praise God. Anyway, a big section of this test is reading and comprehension and so on and so forth. And my girls are big readers. We're all readers in this family. And it's because they read so much, like actual physical books, their comprehension levels are pretty high because just reading does a wonderful is a wonderful way to develop your cognitive abilities. And so I was thinking about that when I was going through this books here and this recent activities and stuff. About the pursuit of wisdom, pursuit of knowledge, and I got to this Twain quote, which I thought was really rather appropriate. He's defining a classic. Classic, a book which people praise and don't read. You see, the whole idea of knowledge, wisdom, people love the idea. Very few people who you talk to will say, I have no interest in knowledge. I have no interest in any kind of wisdom. You know what? I'd rather just be ignorant. People love the idea of wisdom and knowledge, like they love the idea of being in shape. When it comes to get up at 5:30 in the morning and going to running 2 miles, that they're not really interested in. So they'll praise the idea of exercise and eating right, praise the idea of knowledge and wisdom, but they don't put the actual effort into doing it. The Bible is full of wisdom literature. In point of fact, the book of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, it falls within this subgenre of literature that's referred to as the Prince's Mirror, which essentially is wisdom, knowledge handed down from a king to the prince. And the Prince's Mirror is meant to suggest that it's something for which the prince to reflect on, to look at the prince's self and be like, okay, This is how I can be a better person. This is how I can be a better monarch when eventually I am the king. This is something to build towards. And so you can find all kinds of wisdom instruction in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New Testament. It's peppered throughout. Wisdom literature is, but specifically within those two books in the Old Testament, it's all dedicated towards that. And there's one verse in particular in Proverbs. Better is one who controls their temper to one who takes the city. Better one who has self-control rather than someone who does something big and monumentous. Because self-control takes a great deal more effort. You know, in the Islamic world, you know, everyone is probably familiar with the term jihad, right? Which is the holy war, which is what they claim when they're going out and doing all these horrific things and stuff like that. They're claiming jihad. Well, there are two kinds of jihad in Islam: inner and outer jihad. And the inner jihad is the battle within oneself. And for true Muslims, for people who follow the true Islamic faith, that inner battle is the far more difficult, far more important one. It's the battle within oneself to master oneself. It's that struggle inside to make yourself a better person, to exercise patience and what we would say in the Christian community, the fruits of the Spirit. Of course, we have the benefit within Christianity that we can rely on God and the Holy Spirit to act in and through us to help develop those things in us. So we don't have to rely on our own auspices in order to develop our own patience and our own long suffering and so on and so forth. But any way you look at it, it all takes effort. It all takes some kind of a commitment. It takes some kind of time. You don't just get to the point where you can take that TSI exam and be considered college ready as an incoming freshman just by going to take the test. One of the biggest lies we have in the world today is potential. They've got great potential. I don't like that phrase at all. Everyone has potential. We have potential energy just as mass, right? Potential is it's just a way of saying, oh, they could have done more, right? Potential doesn't mean anything unless you act on it. It takes action, right? If it's just sitting there, then it's like a classic that you praise and don't read. It's like a diet that you think is a great idea and you don't do. It's like the exercise program that you think is perfect and you don't initiate, right? Don't let that lie of potential kind of soften you into believing that, well, someday. Because all this stuff takes effort. All this stuff takes some time, whether it's reading, exercising, or learning how to build a boat, whatever it is. So step out and make some effort and do it. Because a classic on a shelf does nobody any good unless it's cracked open and read. Well, that's it for this time. I'm going to turn back to my icy cold coffee on my very hot day here in El Paso. Finish off this pipe and then head on to the rest of the day. So hope you have a lovely week. As always, happy reading.